Welcome to another episode of Sleep Paralysis News. This is the place where we have open conversations about sleep paralysis and other related states as well, astral projection, lucid dreaming, and so forth. And we'd like to hear experiences, stories, what they go through, what does it mean for them. As well as that, the show also is a space where we speak to other related persons, such as persons from the medical community, sleep doctors, consultants, and even researchers are welcome to come onto the show. And having said that, this is a pitch. If you experience sleep paralysis, if you're in the field of sleep paralysis or related experiences, you're welcome to send us an email, reach out to me or Cyrus, and just let us know that you're open to being on the show and you'd like to be part of the conversation. Having said that, without further ado, our guest today is Nikki, and Nikki reached out to us because she's been experiencing several episodes of sleep paralysis. I'm looking forward to hearing her experiences and her journey. And so I'm going to hand over right now to Nikki and ask you, Nikki, we're all ears. We're ready to hear your experiences and your story.
As well, I'm ready to talk about it. It's definitely, if you've ever experienced it, it can be quite terrifying. But I'm not really sure when I can remember when the first episode happened for me personally. I know a lot of guests had talked about in their childhood this and that. I don't remember much from my childhood, but I was very sick all the time, in and out of the hospital, and this latest one I had was probably about 6 years ago. And I have a very serious case of Crohn's disease, and I was in the hospital for whatever reason. And I remember just waking up in the middle of the night, not being able to move, being very fearful, but hearing just a lot of demonic sounding voices. You can't really put into like a human tone what it sounds like. It was just extremely scary, and I didn't really know what to do in that moment. And to be quite honest, I thought it was just the drugs they were giving me. So I didn't really think much to it like the next day. And then I didn't really, and that was probably about 6 years ago. And I didn't have many after that. And then all of a sudden, probably 2 years ago now, I started getting them almost every single night, reoccurring. And they would come like many in a row, and then I would have maybe months without any. But the first one I remember was when I was in the hospital, and the demonic voices always seem to be a reoccurrence for me in every episode I have for whatever reason. And I'm also like, I'm fighting to see, but it's like my eyes are in a telescope mode and I can't fully open them. But I feel like something's there. Obviously, something's holding me down. And I just hear these horrible sounding voices. The most recent one I had was not like that. I can remember very vividly was when I was at home, not in the hospital, but I was at home, and the same thing seemed to happen where I woke up, I could not move at all. I was fighting to just see, and it's like I was like working with every ounce in my body just to open my eyes. And I heard the voices again, and that was terrifying. But what I remember from that particular episode is a lot of fear. But I have this is probably going to sound silly, but I've got a pet cat. And many of times during these episodes, when I'm very fearful, she always seems to be right there. And then during that one particular episode, she had these sounds were just getting so much louder, and just I was terrified. And then she just jumped on my chest, and I felt, and I almost like saw like this just swoosh go over me. I don't really know what it was. Thinking about it after the fact, maybe it was the presence leaving my room. I'm not quite sure. Um, but she's always been there, like I with me, and it's kind of funny because she's not a very personable cat. She doesn't come out all the time. She hides constantly. But ever since those few episodes that she's been there, she's always trying to lay on my chest when I sleep. And it's really quite annoying. But also, I just wonder if there's something she's sensing that when I have these episodes, because I also have dogs too, but it feels like, and I'm much more closer to them, I would say, than her, but it feels like when I have these episodes, they're just like catatonic. They don't bark, they don't do anything, which is very weird because they're Yorkies and they bark at everything. But it's like almost like they just don't even do anything, but she's very present during them. So that's one that I really had that was like kind of scarred me, just even thinking about the voices and just the way I felt during that time. Also, I know a lot of your guests had said it can be brought on by stress. During the last 2 years, I was diagnosed with chronic myeloid leukemia, and that caused me a lot of stress. And I was having them almost regularly every single night. Um, Another one that I remember very vividly is I was on my couch and I was obviously sleeping and then fighting to, it came over me again, that pressure, that being held down. And during that time, I had a lot of things going on with my younger brother. He was going through addiction, in and out of jail. I was very worried about him. And of course, myself and my parents. But during that particular episode, that was a terrifying one because I also heard the demonic sounding voices, but then I felt some presence or something saying feed me, just in this demonic sounding voice. And then something actually, it like bit me on my hand and scratched me enough that when I woke up I actually checked my arm to see if something had bitten me. So it felt very real in the time. And then I came to, um, and that was that particular experience. So a lot of them, they can be very vivid like that, but a lot of times I just have this pressure of something holding me down and me just trying to fight to see what's going on. And it sounds silly, but I do feel better knowing that my cat is here with me because I feel like she's a presence of good or can sense when things are happening. And I know that sounds crazy, I'm sure, but it makes me feel more comfortable having her there. But even those last few episodes, it's almost like I've been scared to go to sleep. And probably the most recent one was about a week and a half ago. Um, I felt the same thing again, just being held down, pressure, but this time the voice almost sounded childlike, like it was taunting me, like, go to sleep, don't you want to go to sleep? And so in my head, I'm like, is this in my head or is this not? And then again, this is going to sound cliche, but even the episode that I described before, where I felt like I got bit with something, I'm a very religious person. Believe wholeheartedly in Jesus, our Savior. And the episodes I had prior to that one, I never thought about even bringing him into this or like saying his name. But during that episode, I did say his name, and then it just ceased to stop. Everything just stopped. And the most recent one where I heard kind of the demonic sounding voices, but they were more childlike, taunting me, I was fighting to get his name out, but I could not open my mouth. But by the third time, I did get it to come out, and then again, it just stopped. That's my personal experience. I think there's definitely some type of supernatural at play. I don't know why I get these or why I'm affected by them. So any insight or knowledge would be more than helpful.
So when you say that your cat was trying to lay on your chest, have you had episodes where you feel pressure on your chest? Because that's a lot of what
Oh
people
yeah.
say. Okay, so then are you sure that the pressure on your chest, was it your cat or was it something else and then your cat came around?
Felt like it was something before she got on my chest, because once she got on there, everything just stopped and I was able to move and wake up.
Okay, so it sounds like your cat is trying to protect them from being on your chest then.
That's
So
kind of what I got from it.
yeah, so I've got so many stories in my head, and yeah, if you're not aware that your cat is around and you're going through a sleep process episode, then your cat might scratch you, but in your hallucination, it was like a demon scratching you. And then you wake up, it's like, oh, I've got scratches on me from the demon, but really you're in that hallucinogenic state. And so you blame it on the demon. So sometimes we get confused, kind of just like a lot of people's testimonies is like laundry baskets, um like a pile of clothes in their peripheral vision, and those turn into demons to them. So they're going through sleep paralysis, like, oh my God, there's a demon in the corner of my eyes. And once they snap out of it, they realize it was just, oh, just my pile of dirty clothes. So
Mhm.
when you're in that state, your mind is trying to make sense of your environment. And so, yeah, it's pretty, you got to figure out how to identify it. So it sounds like your cat, which is weird because I feel like dogs are like that too. So that's something to think about. Like, why does the cat have these spiritual senses? But dogs are different from cats. They truly are. So I'm happy that your cat is, letting you know that, hey, when it comes to the spiritual world, I'm understanding this as well. And so animals are pretty unique, but I'll let Sheila talk as well and ask questions. You're on mute though, Sheila.
I've, thank you for sharing that, Nikki. Um, just on the cat thing and the animal thing, there's a couple of things I wanted to ask. And just to kind of respond to what Cyrus said, from a purely supernatural, spiritual perspective, let's say that your experience is there was something evil there, there was an energy there, there was a presence there. It could well be that the cat is able to tune into that and can sense that and knows that it can protect you and support you during that experience. It could be completely valid in terms of it being a spiritual, otherworldly kind of experience, and the animals can tune into that. It's quite plausible that that's what happened. And I think that's what you were saying, Nikki, that you saw that as something kind of supernatural there.
It did, yeah. I just like when I thought about it after I had the episodes, it kind of brought a sense of like peace to me that it came to an end. Whether she sensed it or not, or it was my own will just waking up, I'm not really sure. But there is a sense of like reassurance there. But even more than that, I'm really glad that I brought my belief in Jesus into it, and you know while the cat is there, I think saying, for me personally, saying his name or just keeping in mind that I don't need to be fearful and having the forethought in that moment to just speak what is good. And then that can also cease it too. So,
Great. I mean, I'd like to ask something about your Jesus experience, but before that, I'm just wondering, when you were in sleep paralysis, did you see the cat?
I didn't see her till I woke up.
Okay. And when you were in sleep paralysis, did you feel the cat come on you?
I felt it like at the very end, her jump up on me, and then it just ended. Then I had that like swoosh, whatever, something could just go over my head really fast, and then that was it.
Okay, so she helped to end the experience for you.
I
Quite
Yeah,
think
literally.
so. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
amazing.
Oh, wonderful. And then on you said that you spoke the name of Jesus and it stopped it, and it works for you.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a couple of guests come on the show and say the same thing, but I will say that what I seem to find is that it's really about what Jesus represents for you, I think. you
Yeah.
know I know that because I'm an experiencer. I would say, Jesus, help me, You know, where are you? Like, and it wouldn't work. But I think that's because I'm not hugely religious, and the name Jesus doesn't have that kind of power and that significance for me, you know.
Mm,
But I think if you can connect at a kind of deeply spiritual, emotional level with terms like Jesus or whatever religious kind of name holds that level of significance for you, it does have a huge impact on how the experience turns out, you know?
Yes, I can
agree.
definitely see that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But tell me, are you afraid to sleep now?
I don't particularly like to go to sleep, and I do sleep with my TV on. So it's not something I look forward to. I do, probably reminisce over it too much, and that probably does not help in not having these episodes. So
Okay, okay. And do you get the sense that they're waiting for you to sleep?
sometimes, yes, yeah,
And
especially when I have them like constant. Like sometimes I'll have them every night, then it'll go months and I won't have it, and then I have that one episode. I'm like, oh my god, is it gonna happen again? Is it gonna happen again?
okay.
So, Nikki, when you said Jesus for the first time, you still kept having sleep process experiences after you used the word Jesus?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I've got the same testimony. Um, I had just become a Christian before my last episode, Luke 10:17, even the demons submit to us in your name, Jesus. And I'd read that like 2 nights before my worst case sleep paralysis. And I fought so hard to say Jesus' name. And when I finally did, it all just went away. And I didn't have sleep paralysis like ever again, ever since that. So now I'm meeting someone for the first time that they said Jesus, and they're still having the incidences. So this is man, this is some deep stuff where the power of the name Jesus, and Sheila just now shared that story, which is new to me. So we kind of talked about this on other episodes. Like, what if we gave power to another word? So is Jesus truly the answer in this moment? Or if we believe that a different word like Butterfinger, and it would, if you believed in that, would it go away? So I'm kind of confused because I've got my own testimony, but I'm listening to everyone else's, and I can't apply my own experience for everyone else. So it is coming to be like, maybe it's just the power of the mind, whatever you put belief in. And so that fear makes it rise. When you fear, if you're afraid to go to sleep, you are truly subconsciously bringing it on to yourself. So you have to get over that fear. And then, so when people go through sleep paralysis and they're just like, oh, this is just sleep paralysis, I'll snap out of it in a little bit, you know, their experience isn't so terrifying because of that self-talk that they
Yeah.
have in the moment. So it does come down to self-talk a lot in these experiences.
Yes, and I will say, like, because I did have them regularly before I, you know, invoked his name, or thought it might help, and there is some reassurance in that. Even though I'm still fearful to go to sleep, I do have reassurance that it might be scary, but I can like come out of it. But I do still have that fear of going to sleep.
Yeah, and I think that there is something about kind of prepping yourself before you sleep and during your waking state to say that, you can get through it, you can overcome it, they're not going to get the better of you, because you're in a space energetically that you feel like you're a victim and you feel like you're almost being abused. I mean, you mentioned that they were taunting you as well, and actually biting you also. And that's something else that I've also heard, that they do that also. It's almost as though they're trying to provoke you, and they enjoy that kind of fearful state that you're in. But there is
Yes.
something about recognizing that you actually have all the power in that experience, in those moments. Even though you feel like you don't, like you're immobilized, you can't move, you can see them, maybe not, but you actually have all the power in that experience. And so once you kind of absorb that and kind of, you know, make it quite clear that that's your frame of mind, you embody that, and that's your frame of mind before you go to sleep, then you will find the experiences can change quite dramatically in that space once you realize that you are in control, and they cannot just do this unless you allow them to do it. And I think when you're in that kind of weakened, fearful state, it's like you kind of drop your guard and you just don't realize that you can do that, you know?
Yes, I definitely, and it just feels so real when it's happening. Like it just feels like it's, so real and not in my mind for sure. So it's just one of those it's just hard, and it's weird, after listening to some of y'all's episodes about how most people seem to see things, I kind of wonder why. It's like my eyes, it's like I want to open my eyes and I can see like little slits, but I can't fully open them to see what's all around me. That's very bizarre to me because I've never actually seen a being or a presence. I've just felt them.
Ah, okay. Perhaps you can if you want, you can go into it with that intention.
Mm-hmm.
That you want to open your eyes, you want to see, you know, what's going on. You can
Yeah.
go through that before you sleep. That's if you feel comfortable doing that, and you'll be surprised. You will be very much surprised. I think it's having the attitude of exploration, of understanding, of where is this going, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Before you sleep and during your day, you're ready for it, you gear up for it in that way, as opposed to being passive and like a victim to it.
Will say kind of after, listening to y'all's podcast and just knowing that I'm not, the only one, it does spark a sense of curiosity in me to, maybe this is not something to be so fearful of, but just to see if I can explore it a little deeper.
Correct.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, I was just going to say, you guys both led me to the question that we have to, or Nikki, you should ask, like, why is this happening to me? If this happens to 25% of the population, sleep paralysis, well, why you? Why is it happening to you at this age? And then you take into account that really the window of, the most cases probably from 15 to 25 years old. It's really prevalent in that, but it can happen before and after that. But that's so then, is it something spiritual? Is it something genetic? Is it truly stress? I'm a deeper thinker, so I'm always thinking. There's a good movie out there called Stare of Echoes, Kevin Bacon, if you guys haven't seen it. But it's almost like a communication from the spirit world trying to communicate something to you. And it's like, what are they trying to get you to understand, or what do you need to be revealed for this to go away? For all this to go away, you have to come to some sort of conclusion like, oh, this is where Jesus was trying to lead me, or oh, this is a turmoil or a trauma that I've been through in my childhood that I suppressed, so you gotta have to try to be your own psychologist to figure yourself out. And if you just keep running from it and saying, I don't want this, I don't want this, you're not really, getting the shovel to dig deeper into your subconscious to truly find out what is going on with you for you to, evolve as a person, character wise and spiritually. There's something there, I believe.
Believe that too.
Wonderful one. And I think that's a great point to end on, unless you've got any other questions there, Cyrus.
Now, Nikki, did you have any questions?
I do not, but I appreciated you guys taking the time to talk to me and get to know my story, and I'm looking forward to future episodes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Nikki.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, guys.